What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Hollywood Already Did It, your movie podcast for reboots, remakes, sequels, and why we continue telling the same stories over and over again. As always, I am your host, Blake Schultz, and with me is Terrence Tatum.
Hello, everyone.
And this week we are talking about the recently released I Know What You Did Last Summer, the requel to the classic 90s slasher that we just keep trying to make a franchise. We had a sequel, we had a TV show, and now we
Yeah,
have this. And sometimes you have one good idea, and maybe that's the idea.
maybe that's it.
Maybe that's the idea. What did you think of the movie?
This is a funny franchise in that I feel like it gets remembered more for the time of that it came out than it does the people realize that this really was those first two movies aren't really that good. And so they're a product of their time. And I love them because I grew up in the 90s. I was also I had a huge crush on Jennifer Love Hewitt, Sarah Michelle as well. So like that. But this was basically always the bastard cousin to Scream. And like Scream was like making fun of itself and being like kind of like wink wink, you're in on the joke. Where this I Know What You Did franchise always sort of took itself very serious. It's like, nope, we're a straight slasher. We're not wink. We know what we are. We're just gonna be straight up. For better or for worse. And so there's a very soft spot for both those films. The first one specifically, the second one had Brandy, and they went to the Bahamas, I believe. Also, okay, cool. I remember being in the theaters and enjoying these movies and having an overall like this was an enjoyable time. But they don't live in the zeitgeist like Scream did. But they have kept trying, and we've had series and multiple direct-to-video sequels. And so when this came about, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I love nostalgia. That's what this movie is going off of, nostalgia for the nostalgia stakes. And this movie is weird in that I actually both like it and don't like it at the same time. It's a fascinating thing in that I think they did what they probably should have always been doing, and sort of they take the piss out of it. Like this is definitely making fun out of some of the bigger tropes of I Know What You Did Last Summer. And so it's not as straight as the previous two. It's not as pulling back the fourth wall as Scream does a lot of the times, but it is still like having fun. Like there's a Bahamas jokes in here for the I Know What You Did. Like if you're a fan of the first two movies, there's a lot of stuff that's kind of like you did that for me. You did that for me. And for that, I appreciate it. I will say though that I don't outside of Madeline Klein, who I think she is killing it in this movie from start to finish. I don't think there's a character in here that I really give a rat's ass about. And so when it is all said and done, I'm like, kill them all. I don't. I hey, I guess I should be having fun, but I'm not really. I'm having fun that you brought me back in this experiment of this world, and we get to sort of make fun of the stuff that we used to love when I was younger. But this story, this time, I am not connected to enough to give a crap about any of these characters, outside of Madeline Klein's character. And I don't know how to. I'll say this. I think we as franchise folks who love horror movies have always said, hey, if you're going to do a franchise, wouldn't it be kind of cool if you're going to do a requel to have one of the legacy characters be the bad guy? And for the most part, we've always been like, maybe you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. And this is the first film that was like, nah, F it. We're in it. We're going to do it. And I don't have a problem with it outside of the fact that they don't earn it. That's my only issue with it. And if you go for it and earn it, I'd be 100% behind it. Like I have no problem with the idea of Freddie Prinze Jr.'s character being one of the killers. None. The reasoning to how we get there makes absolutely no sense. And my brain is kind of like, nah, I don't buy that. You haven't earned that. And so when it is all said and done, I was like, oh, that's a cool thing. I've always wanted one of the legacy characters to just be like, F it. I've had enough of y'all not listening to us, not paying attention to us. I'm the one who's killing people. It just doesn't make sense here. And so it's cool to see Freddie Prinze and Sarah Michelle. Wink, wink gets a nod here, even though her character is dead, and Jennifer Love Hewitt's back. It's great to see that Ryan Felipe was like, "Nah, I'm good," but the rest of the three were like, "Nah, this is fun. I want to be a part of this." And it's good to see that they still have some reverence for this world. But when it's all said and done, I was like, it was cool to revisit this and basically be a rehash. But I don't unlike the previous two films where I actually felt some sort of attachment. Some of that might be because I was of that age, but because I'm older, I don't really attach or connect to these characters in the way that I did back then. And so the ride is not as fun, even though I do appreciate that you took the time to sort of say, hey, I know what you did last, fans. I know you're there. Good to see you.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I feel like this movie is at odds with itself. It feels like there's two, maybe even three scripts. And one of those scripts was like scary movies.
Hmm.
And one
Yes.
of them was I Know What You Did Last Summer, whatever number we're on. And then one of them is another I Know What You Did Last Summer. And they're all fighting each other. Because I hate so much the like first act of the movie. Uh Specifically because we're talking about rehashes and remakes and reboots, but usually when we tackle them, I can find a theme or an idea or a reason, or this was successful then, and it's interesting we're trying to do this now. This movie just straight up takes from Halloween 2018 and is like, here's the podcast journalist who's doing the horror show. And the minute we introduced her, I just like in my gut was like, oh, this is a scary movie now. We're gonna make fun of this
Hmm.
idea, and then we're like, not really. And I also just like was very bothered by the weird immediate like will they won't they of this relationship and this like over the top bride character that we're meeting and these other cartoon characters that are coming. And I just like and then we started killing people. And suddenly I was kind of in because they got me, Terrence. They got me, those little fuckers. The minute she takes off the fish slicker mask and is like, oh, it's you, I was just like, well, great. Now I'm going to spend this whole movie being like,
Trying to
who else
figure
did
out like
she meet?
when. Yeah.
Who else did she meet?
Yeah.
Because it's got to be this person because we've only seen these two people get attacked and this person get attacked. And I kind of liked every death. And what I sort of enjoyed that we differentiated was like the first movie felt very specific of who we're going to get. And this one was like, hey, if you're even friends with these people,
If you're in the
I'm
if in
going
the
to
wake.
kill
Yeah,
you.
if you're in the wake of these folks, I'm killing you.
I liked that. I really liked the idea of seeing how trauma affects two different survivors and one person who moves on and one person who didn't. Because
Hmm.
whenever we kind of bring back the legacy characters, we either are like, oh, they're crazy, but they're ready, or we kind of do a scream where they're sort of like excited to be back. And I
Hmm.
kind of liked that we had two characters that one that was them was like, you got to get over it. I'm never going back there. And the other one who was like, how dare you try to
How
erase
could you
this
leave?
town's
Yeah, this
history?
right.
And I liked that idea because I do think when there are tragedies, we oftentimes try to be like, shh, it's fine. We have to like sell houses or whatever. Like,
Hmm.
whatever, go buy things at Christmas. Forget about it. But we didn't really do a lot with it. It's like you said, it wasn't very earned. And that was kind of the weird part is like once we started on the mystery and we got to like the priest and him acting creepy, everything after there I really liked, but it was so lightning fast
It was
of
like
just like,
moving.
well,
Yeah.
she was my friend and he helped me when my life was bad because I went to rehab and then everyone thought I was insane. And I was like, hold up, girl, we didn't talk about any of
Any
this
of this.
happening.
Yeah.
You showed up and you were like, I got my life back together. Maybe I shouldn't go with you guys. But then you did go with them and then you were a part of it. And then you also didn't you were active in this situation.
Yeah.
Um, but I kind of dug her like, I'm going to kill everyone you guys love, and I want you to know I did it
Hmm.
because you did this to me. And I was like, that's awesome. And then I really enjoyed because even I was like, well, where's the cut on the arm? Where's this? How did the podcast recognize her? Oh, snap, legacy character killer. But then we're just done. He's like, I
Yeah.
did
We
it. The
speed
town's
through
trying to
that so
forget me.
fast. Yeah.
And I'm like, man, if we had just spent like a little less time on these like boring relationships. Or if we
Yeah.
made the movie, here's the thing, if the movie had been overall stronger, so those relationships were better, because I like the father son dynamic, I like the girl with the ex and the new fiance, I like the like, oh, I had my chance to hook up and tell him this, didn't. Those are all interesting ideas that don't cook long enough. And if you had then added an extra 20 minutes when that was stronger of this second killer who's like mad about something else, I
Hmm.
would have been like, this is
This
awesome.
is correct.
And
Yeah.
instead, we just sort of like speed through it, I guess, so that she can bang this podcast host, um,
Right. Yeah, it's weird.
who we then
I
kill. Because even, here's the thing about killing the podcast host, too, that bothers me. She's trying to do a history lesson on the town. So it makes no sense for him to kill her because she's doing what he wants. She's
unless
making something to make people remember the tragedy. Also, there's no way the one night stand on the airplane is the most important person in her life.
no.
Why do we kill her? Why is
Right.
she even
Right.
there?
Well, that's the thing. I was like, I feel like that was the Stevie one killing her because, like, to your point, Ray would have just been
But she
like, she
gets
seems to
cut.
stay alive, but she does get the cut, and that's where you're right.
And that's
That's
how we know
definitely
it's
Ray.
him.
That's how we know it's Ray. So yeah, it's weird. I think a lot of the times that I have issues with this is the motivations. Like when I think about it, I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Like I like Ava, the quote unquote lead, even though Madeline, I feel like does more in this movie. Ava's our
Yeah.
lead because that's who we sort of start with. But like a lot of a lot of her trauma just ends up as being like sexually repressed trauma. And that's just like, well, that's not enough for me to be like, hey, I just don't want to be choked a little bit. Hey, some people just like to be choked. That's not enough to be like, I've gone through hell, choke me to make me feel like I deserve to be in pain.
Yeah, because what
You
was her
need to do
actual like?
more.
Do we even learn more about her backstory? Did I forget? You did, and that's there's so many like my haunted past, and then they're like, don't worry about that.
Don't worry about it. You
Don't worry
don't need to
about
know
it.
that. Yeah.
Even though it's like the linchpin of the motivation of
Yeah.
this one character, and the idea of trauma and how we process it is the theme of the entire movie. Which is, did they tack on that bit at the end where they're like, if these men had just gone to therapy, and I'm like, one of the killers was a woman, so
One of them
even
was a
that point
woman. So that,
fails.
yeah, that's a weird, that was such a weird line to throw in because one, they were like, oh, we're going to do this again because Stevie got away. Like she's alive. And then they just throw that
Oh
away. And
yeah,
then they're like,
we
well,
just throw that away over the
she's alive.
credits.
I'm like, wait, what?
Because I
That's
also kept being
important.
like, he shot her, and then was like, did I kill her? And I was like,
That
oh
means you
snap,
two
here
shouldn't
we
just be eating
and
because you're not
th-
safe.
this is like the fundamental flaw of the whole movie is that every time they do something where I'm like, oh snap, it was part of the plan to shoot her overboard. That's awesome. They're then like, eh.
Ignore it. The end. I
And
think
it's
that was my
crazy because I
biggest sort
liked the movie. I walked
of
away being like, I had a good time, but this is dog shit.
I think that's my point. Like there's like when Jennifer Love shows up, I sat there and I was like, what? You could have done this movie without Julie James at all. Because like when she comes at the very end, she doesn't move. There's no story piece that's moved along other than the fact that you just get her to come back to this town. But it would be better if you showed what she had to go through to get herself ready to go back to that town. Because otherwise, all you do is just show her in the car and she's there and she's like, well, I know who it is. It's Ray. Ray's a terrible man. He's my ex-husband, so I know he killed these people because he's awful.
Yeah, she just Google searches it
Yeah,
and
she's
then
just
is
like
like,
immediately
oh
like, put it
no.
together. I'm done.
Yeah, it really feels like they ran out of time,
Yeah,
which is a weird thing to have happen when like you're making the movie.
when you're the ones responsible for how this time and pacing goes, yeah, it's weird. Uh,
Um,
I I think I like to your point. I do like some of the setups. I do like some of the kills. I like the setup that happens in the original town, like the bar that they were in. I loved kind of recreating, going back through the history of I Know What You Did Last Summer. Like I dug those pieces, but I feel like this movie sort of gets stuck in that weird honoring the past, talking about the present, and doesn't really do either of them particularly well. And
no.
yeah,
It's a shame
um,
because I do think there's a lot to chew on in the movie. It's just executed so haphazardly. Like I wouldn't even say
mhm.
bad because I had a good time. Like I walked out being like, that was fun. And I was like entertained and I enjoyed watching these people die.
Yeah.
Almost all the deaths, I was like, "Ooh, that's fun." When we hang up the son and the dad, I'm like,
That's a
"That
good
was
one. Yeah.
awesome."
Yeah.
We dropped the podcaster and hanger. That was
Hmm.
awesome. Almost all of them were great, and there were some good moments. Like even when she's just crying, like I didn't hear it happening. I was upstairs taking this bath. Like I was like,
Yeah.
these are really good beats that we have in
Hmm.
this movie. And when Stevie was full on crazy, it was great. When she
Oh,
was
her
just full
turn when
on
she just
in
goes
that
full
boat.
nuts, she killed
Ooh.
it. She was pitch perfect. I
I also
loved
really
everything
liked
she did in
Ray's just
that.
like, sorry, I can't see now, so I have to
I
kill
also love
you.
the idea that Stevie was like, leave Ava alone because Ava was the only other person that was like, we need to tell someone. That's a great concept. You got to flesh that out a little bit more though. Like you can't
Yeah,
just say it and then leave it alone.
yeah, the movie is just filled with ideas. And then we have a post-credit scene. And I'm not gonna lie, a part of me was like, let's do it. I kind of like the idea that we just found the roommate, and the roommate's like, yeah, let's fucking go.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know that we'll get that sequel
I don't know
because the
that
box
either.
off, it's a
Mm.
weird box office, right? I was like looking at it right before we started. It opened to 24 million worldwide, so we'll see what this next weekend does. It only cost 18 million to make, so even by 3, that's probably right on the nose. If you adjust unadjusted for inflation, the original made 15.8 and the second opened to 16.5. The first one went on to make 125 mil, the second one 84. So it's not that bad, but it
Right.
also doesn't and it's weird because we're in the middle of Superman and Fantastic Four. Like the
Hmm.
Smurfs also didn't do well. Nothing did well that weekend.
Correct.
Superman just did more. Like that was
Yes. Yes.
surprising no one.
No.
So so it is weird in that sense, but I also just don't know that this is a franchise I've ever heard anyone ask for more from. I don't think we don't have like a name for the guy in the slicker. He's never really
No.
like there's no fanship around him like there is with
No.
Ghostface or any other slasher character. I, I, None of these characters I think are like beloved in the zeitgeist the
No.
way
I mean,
other characters are.
until they said her name, I had completely forgotten Jennifer Love's character name in the movie. I was like, I just thought Jennifer Love's in that movie, not Julie James. Like I did not have that as being
Yeah.
her name. And I'm like, oh, that's an important piece. Like Helen Shivers or Ray Bronson, those names don't bring enough in the zeitgeist where I'm like, ah. And like, I know Ben Willis because I've seen at least two of these movies where Ben Willis was the guy in the fisherman hat, but nobody knows that name. That name doesn't resonate with anybody. So
Right.
it's kind of like, ah, yeah, this franchise. And then we've seen a film this year which is a legacy film in Final Destination do it, but they stayed in the zeitgeist
But way better.
way
Yeah.
better than this film did.
No, we've now done so many of these requels that I think we know when we're doing it well and when we're just sort of like dust it off.
IP, we
Um,
got an IP from back
this
then. Dust it.
and the
Let's go.
yeah, and the movie, it's a bit of like I don't know that it even has franchise potential because like what are you gonna do? Have the same group of kids keep accidentally killing someone
Well, that's
and
the
then
thing. Like
someone
the
connected to
premise of this is so you have to be so specific. Whereas at least with Screaming, when I could be whatever, it's like who done it, killing all the time, Final Destination. But this, you're saying that every movie, someone at the top of this has to hit somebody with a car or do something that like we can cover up and hide,
they
and then
had
we'll
to
go
do
on the
something
next
last summer.
a year before.
It's in
And
the
then we
like
have
if
to wait a whole year and then start dying.
like if the movie almost had like a Halloween type lore of like, yeah, there's a dude in a fisherman slicker who like kills people who like do bad
Yeah,
things, then like maybe, but it's just so dependent. Like whenever we talk about like the problems in Haddonfield, it's like this is a
yeah,
problem this town has. This is a problem
yeah.
Crystal Lake has. And it almost kind of makes Ray's motivation not like weaker, but a little bit weaker when it is
Hmm.
just like, and I get we're trying to do like he's struggling to move on. The town's also moved on, but it's like, of course the town's moved on. Could you
Right.
imagine if Chicago was still talking about like name a serial killer? Like, could you imagine if like
If you are in
every
a town,
summer
yeah.
LA was like, guys, it's time to talk about the son of Sam. Like no one like
Yeah.
it's peculiar. But I had a good enough time.
It's funny. I was in the theater. I guess I just happen to have a good chunk of I Know What You Did Last Summer fans in it because when Sarah Michelle came on screen, clapping applaud. When Julie came in on the screen, clapping applaud. When Ray came in, like they were like, yeah. I was like, oh, so we're all here. We just don't exist anywhere outside of this building.
I had the complete opposite. I was one of four people in my theater. The other three was a group of teenage girls.
Who had no context at all.
I don't. They might have, for all I know. I mean, I didn't talk. I didn't approach these women after the
As
movie.
you should not have. That's correct.
um, but they seemed to enjoy it. They were. No one took out their phones. They were just sitting there
That's half
having
the
a good
battle. That's
time.
half the battle right there.
But I was like, yeah, this is just a. I just went on a Friday matinee to this.
Yeah, I was in right after work, so I went to like a Friday at 5:30, no, a Thursday at 5:30 show. And I was like, oh, there are people in here. And like I said, like the audience was pretty responsive. It wasn't full, but it was decent enough.
I
But I
mean,
was
I
like, oh,
think
this
that's
is
how
all
it
the I Know
is.
You fans. This is it. We're all right here.
They're there. I mean, the first movie's good. Kevin Williamson's a good writer. Like I
He
always
is.
enjoy when he does stuff, but
Yeah.
it's a hard tone to emulate what he does. It's hard to kind of catch, the
That
faculty or I know
sweet
what you did
spot.
last summer or
Correct.
Scream.
Yeah.
It's a balancing act, but I think that is our show, everyone. So we will see you guys next time. Don't forget to leave us a comment or review on our YouTube channel, where Terrence also does all of our show reviews and trailer reactions. We're on Twitter and TikTok at Hollywood ADI. I'm at As Always Blake, and Terrence is at Terrence Tatum, and we will see everybody next time.
Later.